Titties by the wall, titties by the stall. Want to grab your titties when we walking in the mall. Good evening, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's a social production. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me once again. If you're just joining us today, if you're just hopping on, if you're finding this video today, you're like, where can I find these videos? On Instagram, on the YouTubes, and on the patreons.com/robsadri. That's where you can find these videos. And thank you for joining me wherever you are, whether it's Toronto, Canada, whether it's down south, all the way in the United States of America, further down south, Mexico, further down south, South Americas, hopping over to Africa, flying over to Europe, crossing over to Asia, hopping over there down to Australia and New Zealand, over there in the South Pole, hopping all around the world, over there in the North Pole, over there in Zimbabwe, over there in Zanzibar, over there in Taipei, wherever you are. Thank you. It's Wednesday, January the 7th, 2026. Holy shit. 2020, I gotta get used to 2026. That's right, 2025 is over. I gotta get used to saying 2026 for the next year. Thank you for joining me. Let's get a sip of this shit, because today's all about the funds. Today's all about the silliness. Today's all about you guys and gals. Thank you for joining me. And let's get into it, right? Without further ado, let's get right to from player to player, from players to players all across the world. When people ask a player, how do you orchestrates and dominates player? You gotta set it down for them. Player, how you going to orchestrate and dominate? That's the main question people have been asking. How do you orchestrate and dominate us so hard? Oh, well, let's break it down for a second. Orchestrating, orchestra. Are we talking about music? Are we talking about instruments? Are we talking about pieces of metal that we stick in our mouths and blow on? Are we talking about, playing with the strings, orchestrating and dominating? How does the one go about orchestrating and dominating? People have asked, not just on the streets, but on the interwebs, will I ever stop orchestrating and dominating in real time? The answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, and my beautiful, beautiful cyborgs out there, not to forget the aliens, I will never stop orchestrating and dominating. God, this is how you do it too. You just simply orchestrate on a daily basis. That means, what does it mean? It means planning little by little and then dominating. All right, what does dominance mean? You're on top of that shit. You're not right at bottom. Sure, you might get a good grip when you're on the bottom. You might actually be one of the best who's ever done it on the bottom, but then you get on top, and that's how you dominate, and then you stay on top, and that's how you dominate. You hit it from the top. That's how you dominate. You orchestrate. All right, you're like, when should I orchestrate? You never stop. Morning, you get your orchestrating in the midday, orchestrating, afternoon, domination, followed by what? Orchestrating a little bit more. Hit it from the back at nighttime. Dominance, orchestration, working together, hand in hand. That's how you dominate and orchestrate. I hope this simply lays it out for you so you can go out there and dominate and orchestrate by yourselves, whatever you're doing. But that's the gist of it. That's the jizz of it all. You know what I'm saying? Holla at your boy from player to player all around the world. To pimps and the hoes holding it down. Lifting up them skirts, showing them you who's out there. What is that? What is that? Is that a little bit, is that a little bit of dick root I see? Is that a little bit of the, what is that? Did she trim or did she not trim? What is she doing? She is orchestrating and she is dominating. How? By wearing a comfortable pair of underwear. Sometimes she might not even wear any underwear, and that's how she orchestrates and dominates. Sits on top of that shit. You know, I'm talking about that lockjaw puss. That's how you dominate. You lock onto it like a lockjaw puss and you suck it off. And that's how you dominate, orchestrating and dominate. I think that basically covers it. So again, thank you for that beautiful, beautiful question, concern, point of safety that you brought up. And again, glad to be here with the gang. It is Wednesday. We're doing it together. things I want to get off my chest first and foremost. All right, let's just get it right off our chest because it's been just bothering to play up for a second, for a minute, I'm just gonna say it, I'm just gonna lay it out on the table because that's not how you treat a young humble pimp. All right, Duffer brothers, talking to the Duffer bros. All right, fuck the Duffer bros, I'll say that. Fuck the Duffer bros and the Stranger Things cast and crew. Fuck all y'all for making a humble pimp shed a couple. I don't even know what happened on that last episode. I'm not even gonna. Did y'all? Yeah, congratulations. Give it up for yourselves. I hope you're proud of yourselves for making a humble pimp. I don't even know what happened to my teeth. There's things started secreting from my eyeballs. It was wet. Got emotional. I don't know what kind of magic tricks. I don't know what kind of whatever it was. I'm just gonna, again, fuck you. And by fuck you, I mean thank you for a great, amazing show. I'll just say that wrapped up beautiful. If you've not seen it yet, I just highly recommend have your remote in hand, all right, when you're watching the last episode of Stranger Things. If you want to just have a joyous ending, as soon as you see the gang and crew in the car driving back to safety, back to the outside of the upside down, turn it off right then and there if you want a happy, sweet ending. All right. Otherwise, if you're a player and you a humble pimp out there, be ready to get some tissues. I recommend I don't even know what happens, but get some tissues because there might be some pulling of the old heartstrings. All right. So fuck all y'all, and by that I mean thank you. And what do I believe happened at the end? This is what 11 lives on. That's what I believe happened. I don't know what you guys are watching, but 11 lives. That's what I believe happened. All right. She goes on to live a secret, beautiful life. And in secrecy, she meets up with the gang and the crew, and they all have tons of babies and are just doing fine, all of them. And nobody actually died. None of the cast members who died in previous seasons actually are alive as well. So fuck all y'all. She's alive. She's alive. You're wrong. You're wrong if you say she's dead. If you think she's dead, spoiler alert. And I'm not, again, turn it off. As soon as you see them, turn it off right now. I'm telling you, from a young humble pimp to other humble pimps out there, if you don't want to be secreting any sort of weird moistures from your eye sockets. All right. Was it nice to get a little bit emotional? Sure. Whatever that means. Yeah. Is your boy out there dominating and orchestrating on a regular basis so he doesn't sometimes have time to sit down and think about all his emotions and all the things that might be none of that shit. You just block it out and move, all right, one step at a time. But sometimes they hit you out of left field with that fucking pulling the old heartstrings and doing things that play with your, it's all right. I don't want to let it go, but I believe there's going to be, I hope there's more to say. And I know you say it's done and over with. What we all know when people say that it's like retirement in sports, all right? Boxers never retire. They never retire. Wrestlers never retire, all right? People in TV never retire, right? It's the same concept. So I want to see Stranger Things, many other seasons in the next few years. You can take your time. It's okay. And yeah, I don't want to see people work on the endings. How about that? Work a little bit on the endings. Just clear-cut happy endings. I'm a fan of happy endings. That's why, you go through your daily routine, and then sometimes you just need a little bit of the old tug and pull for a little happy ending, because life could be difficult and challenging in many ways. So we all need a little bit of the old Vietnamese happy ending. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'm just gonna believe what I saw with my own two, and that she lives. All right, she fucking lives. God damn it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sharing for coming to the same conclusion as me. We did it together. You know what else we did together? Congratulations. Thank you for congratulating me on becoming the person who I'm not the type that, toots his own horn or, squeezes his own prostate or rubs his own tits or, stares at his own pre-cum for about 5 to 10 minutes before he really gets going. I'm not that type, but when there are awards and it's award season and when it's meant to be collected and when it takes a lot of orchestration and dominance to get where you're at, I'm just gonna say again, thank you. What am I talking about? The $50 million reward, of course, for the capture of Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela. The former president of Venezuela has been captured. Of course, you guys and gals have seen the 50 mil reward that was put up a few weeks ago. I forget when it really happened, but it doesn't matter. And someone, I believe, from our beautiful U.S. government said there's a $50 million bounty on his personage. If you have any thoughts, any info that might lead to his arrest. And shortly after, I went ahead and made one. Again, what did I do? Orchestrated, dominated, basically. Came and dropped an episode. And a lot of people are now pointing to that episode a few months ago concerning Nicolas Maduro and say that was the turning point, the pivotal moment when everything started to spiral in a downward fashion for Nicolas Maduro. I like to think that we did it as a team, of course. This is not just an individualistic sport where you get into it and you're like, oh, it's just me against the, rubber ducky. It's just me against. No, it's a team effort. We all did it together. Again, I'm not quite sure where you guys fall in terms of, is it right? Is it wrong? I'm not here for is it right or is it wrong. It's a matter of, did we orchestrate? Did we dominate? Yes, we did. And yes, it comes from top down and a little bit people working from the side. So how will I collect my 50 mil? I do enjoy $20 bills, unmarked US dollar bills in briefcases, black Samsonites, if I can have them. Handcuff it to, some goons so I make sure my money's safe first and don't just be willy-nilly putting it in some sort of like duffel bags and just, don't be FedExing that shit. No disrespect to FedEx out there, but this is it needs to be a little bit formal for the sake of the, ceremonial aspect of things, if you will. So I'll collect my $50 million. Of course, the podcast is going to be orchestrating and dominating even harder now that we got the loot. Thank you very much, and you're welcome. By the way, the podcast it was an episode. It was important for the culture, for the movement that it is, and yeah, of course, we do mainly comedy, but also we hit it and we dominated, and that's how we got it done. Of course, I give people flowers whenever it's due. And again, I'm not talking about right or wrong. I'm not talking about how you feel about it, as many people have different opinions on the matter. But in terms of operational, in terms of practicality, in terms of getting it done, we got it done. And again, I'm not taking full credit for this shit. I just want, again, just my little part, no big deal. I'll give most of the credit to the leadership. I'll give most of the credit to Trumpeasy. Trumpeasy, it's what it is. It's that we're playing that, it's Duck Duck Goose, motherfuckers. It's Duck Duck Goose season, and then people be ducking and ducking, but you're it at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you're it, son. You goosed up. You laid that golden egg. You hatched it up. Look, knock, knock. What's that? It's a little goose coming out of a goose egg. Whose is it? It's your egg. We collect it, and that's how we got it done. So in terms of the Delta forces, of course, they had a big hand in this. So congratulations to the team. Again, this isn't about who. It's a team effort. It's a team effort. Nobody fucks with us, and by us, I mean the United States of America, the greatest nation that ever nationed, in terms of governance, in terms of justice, in terms of military prowess, in terms of having reach. A lot of people want to scratch that itch, but they can't reach that far. And we go ahead and fucking scratch it, son. Like a little scratch and win ticket. Like a little scratch and sniff. Like a little scratch and squirt. You know what I'm talking about. People be like, I like to flick my bean, but I can't scratch it because it's too far. I got short arms. We scratched that itch. That's what we did together. Of course, this should Others should take note. Again, it's 2026. This is the future now. All right. Toss out all your ideals and ideas of nation states, these illusions of what it is that people should pick sides. Essentially, this is what it comes. This is the new world order we're living in. It's beautiful. Get used to it, like it, enjoy it, subscribe to it. Follow on YouTube if you like, leave a comment, jerk off whenever you can to release some of that stress. But otherwise, it's what it is, because you're gonna have to come down and realize we're living in a bipolar, maybe tripolar world of superpowers. But we all know, hands down, when it comes to superiority in power plays, there's none other than the United States holding the top position right there. Why? Because we orchestrate and we dominate in the depths of the ocean. All right, in the heat of the desert, in the depths of the jungle, wherever it may be, in Antarctica, wherever it may, we dominate that shit. All right. So other countries, which are not even real countries at this point, let's just call it what it is. All right. Choose a side. You're either going to have to side with the United States. Let's let the CIA run your country. It's just much easier that way. All right. Many countries should follow suit. All right. Let the CIA run your country. At the end of the day, because if it's not, then China's going to get in there. Then China's going to get in there, and potentially, maybe again, it's mostly US, China fighting for that top position. But it's us. It's the US. China, we'll give them a lot of credit, but nonetheless, there's only one. The others are just second place, and who cares about second place? And you could maybe, if you're like, no, it's a tripolar world, and what about Russia? I mean, yeah, okay, if you wanna. But we're talking adult talk right here, okay? We're talking grown-up shit right here, okay? As a matter of fact, I'll just like to say, if everybody just subscribed to the notion of giving up ideals in terms of having nation states running and doing it, it's much easier. We open it up, let it be run by the CIA and intelligence units out there, factions that I'm not even privy to, I'm not even aware of. Let it just be, it's much easier. Just give in to it, become one of it, become it. I've always said this, good guys, bad guys, all right? Law enforcement, crime punishment, out there doing things, pick a side. And again, it's just too much. It's just too much. There's no point. So give it up, join in, and let's just all have a little bit of fun. It's 2026, baby. It's 2026. We're halfway through the 20s, more than halfway. So congratulations to the boys and girls doing it in all aspects of governance and all aspects of society. Whatever you are doing, we are holding it down. What are we doing? We're orchestrating, we're dominating. Shout out to whoever put the gear on Maduro. I think I got a look at Maduro when he was coming out, when they got him. He seemed to have, you got to give it up. You got to give it up to people who seek the opportunity. And what did? They orchestrate and dominate. What was on his face? Seemed like a virtual reality headset. I believe Zuckerberg probably got in there, right? Just because you don't want to, you change somebody's position. When somebody goes from king or fucking, president, all of a sudden you're captive, you're captured, you're being brought in, you put that headset on them, they still live that reality where they're, top senior in that realm, at least, so that they're not shocked. It's kind of like deep diving and then coming up way too fast for oxygen. You don't want to do that, because then for the rest of the day, you're going to be purple and queefing all day. All right, take your time coming up. That's what the headset's for. So you saw that. It was either Zuckerberg's headset, or I don't know, maybe they dropped him off at like a Burning Man sesh before they got him to come over to New York for courts and whatnot, or maybe it was just a sweet underground rave. I don't know what it was, but the drip was drippy, not gonna lie. But other than that, I'm glad to see that we did it together again. Team effort, no one's gonna take sole credit for this. But again, if any credits, do it for this one. Again, I'm not saying right or wrong, left or right, up or down, just saying what it is, all right? Things need to be done, we get it done. Orchestrating and dominating. God. Now, of course, what happens after in Venezuela and all around the world is it takes time. So give into it, takes time. Use a lot of lube, use a lot of oil. It's better when it's wet. It's better when it's slippery. They've said that. Somebody etched that in stone a long time ago. Nonetheless, What have we been talking about? I'd like to make a shout out to the wonderful people who never get the credit when it's their turn. Oftentimes they're deemed. I mean, tides, the tides are turning, things are shifting, of course, but it's difficult. It's one of those difficult jobs. Oftentimes doesn't get the thanks it deserves. I'm talking about police officers out there. Cortland police officers saved a man from a burning car. Caught my attention, came on my radar. Didn't jizz on my radar, but it came across my radar. Didn't when I say it came across my radar, I don't mean it jizz them all across my radar. And then if it did that, we'd have issues, in fact, because I only got one radar. You can't be covering my radar and jizz them. I just want to clarify that. Leave a comment if you think that I meant come on my radar, ergo jizz on my radar. If you thought that, jeez Louise. Somebody spraying salt or, putting salt out there on the ground, because that's what it's winter time in Toronto, in Canada. We put salt on the ground so that people can get down on their knees and lick up the salt, because it's during the winter times, people don't get enough salt, and that we toss that salt on the ground. You might have seen it. So after this podcast and after I collect my 50, I'm gonna go there outside, get on my knees, lick the salt until spring. Makes spring come a little bit earlier. That's what we do. You don't know that shit, do you? Because you're not in Canada. You wouldn't. How would you know? How would you know? You wouldn't. I'm going to do that. What were we even talking about? That's right. This Cortland police officers saved the man from a burning car, ladies and gentlemen. What I noticed was that the guy in the burning car, he's telling that he's got it to a crash. He's flipped on his side. The car is burning. It's on fire. He seems to have broken his leg, and you see the body cam image from the police officers trying to rescue this man. And what do I mean by body cam image? I'm not talking about an adjustable camera that you can attach to your personage so that he can view whatever is going on. I'm not talking about body cam. Cam is not short for Cameron, but because otherwise there's that program as well, not to get it mistaken with, body. We do need to just unpack it for a lot of people. I just want to break it down so that there's no, because when we use the term body cam, a lot of people are like, oh yes, of course, bodily Camerons, and you're like, oh, there's a Cameron factory, and you grow these Camerons, and they're all named Cameron, different sizes, different ages, different races, different sexes sometimes, and then you collect them and you attach them to your body, and they're called body cams. Not talking about those. I'm talking about video footage from a camera. In this case, cam is short for camera. Again, I'd like to clarify for those viewers who weren't certain. Just want to nip it in the bud, The video shows this gentleman in the car with a broken leg telling the police officer, try to get me out. The sunroof is already opened up. The police officer who sees him is like, get here, give me your hand, I'll pull you out of the sunroof. He's like, no, try to get me out from the back. And the patience on this police officer, because this car can blow at any second, and you got this guy with broken legs making demands, and no, I'd rather be pulled out from the back rather than being pulled out from the sunroof. Note to people, note to myself, God forbid, note to any of you guys out there, God forbid anything should happen to you. You catch yourself in a horrible accident when you're flipped upside down in a car and your car is burning and it's about to blow up, and somebody comes to save you, a police officer comes to save you. I'm gonna just take this time. What do you do there? What do you do when you're in that position? Yeah, shut the fuck up. All right. If that's me, all right, and there's a police officer telling me to just give him my hand so he can pull me out of the sun, I'd shut the fuck up. I mean, there might be a door open. There might be a back entry to the vehicle. There might be even a little hatch from the bottom. Like, I'll let the police officer decide wherever he's comfortable to rescue me from there. I'm gonna just, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna shut the fuck up is what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry, this is a little uncomfortable for me. You might try to get me out from the, shut the fuck up and get out to safety. That's what you do. I know his legs were broken, he was in pain, so we'll give him a little bit of a leeway there, but otherwise, I mean, if you need to shoot me more to just, if I'm under duress, I don't know what I might say either. But if need be, you just pop a couple of bullets, all right? A couple of those hollow tips in wherever you need to, and just drag me to safety. That's what I wanted to say. Get it off my chest. So it's not an easy job, doesn't get all the love it deserves. You know, oftentimes we do see depictions of police in different places clashing with different people for whatever reasons, and there's times like this that you never know when you might need their services, and they're fucking regular everyday superhumans, all right, saving lives, superheroes that don't wear capes unless it's their own downtime and they engage in cape wearing activities, which I'm not against. All right, you want to bump a little bit of R&B, get that bottle of lube out, wear a cape, high boots, knee-high boots and a cape and a bottle of lube. Who am I to judge? You know, playa to playa, humble pimp to humble pimps out there. Just saying, no judgy, all respects. Moral of the story is, shut the fuck up when you're getting rescued. That's what it is. What else is going on? This story came across my radar as well. I believe it was a woman who was airlifted and rescued because she, I guess, tripped and fell down a prolific waterfall in Australia. And I know what you're all thinking. She's rescued, or I believe she's safe. She's, you know, maybe picked up a few little injuries, but overall I believe she's rescued and she's saved. And most people want to take this time to say, because I hear you guys, I hear you gals out there looking at incidents like this and saying it's moments like this that display that women need to just, you know, do you really need to go to the waterfall? People are asking that question, and it's a legitimate concern. People are pointing to incidents like this and saying women belong in the kitchen. You know, don't be going out there to a waterfall. What do you be doing there? You know, people might be, I'm not saying this, but some people say that women don't have that sort of hand-eye coordination, you know, that sort of capability to be around. What, again, I'm not saying this stuff. Some people are saying that you put a baby in her when she's ripe and young. People are saying that. What are you doing out there by a waterfall? People are saying that. To this, I like to say, no, I don't agree with any of that. No, women, you know, yeah. Are they great in the kitchen? Of course, fantastic. Do they make great mothers? Of course, there's no argument against that. But to say that women can't handle their waterfalls and get all, you know, emotional and tangled up in all sorts of mischievous behavior, which then leads to them taking falls and in need of a rescue. I like to just say it could happen to anyone. I mean, it didn't happen to a man, but and a lot of people have pointed that notion out, that it didn't happen to a fella, but it could easily, just as easily happen to a fella. So no, I'm gonna just disagree with you. No, they should be, you're like, this is why we shouldn't have let them vote to begin with. This is, again, I hear you loud and clear. You're like, this is what happens when you give them driver's licenses and the right to smoke cigarettes. I hear ya. Okay, but I'm sorry. I'm going to just step out on the limb and be the odd man out and say, nay. I disagree, friends. This is, again, yeah, sure. They don't have they don't have that fast twitch like some men do. Some, you know, there is you know, anomalies that may have the fast twitches. But again, I'm not gonna agree with you out there and say that no, just get them pregnant, put them in the kitchen, you know, barefoot and, you know, assless chap wearing prego for like 9 consecutive years and just, you know, I'm gonna say they've come along, they've proven themselves. Things happen. Sometimes you do trip and fall near a waterfall, but again, did not happen to a man. Did not even happen to, it wasn't even a child, that it was a woman. So I do hear you. And again, just it's the beginning of the year, all right? Let's not have that attitude that, you know, let's hold people accountable. Shit happens, all right? So we're gonna let it go. And no, we're not gonna come in with that harsh judgment of, oh, just put him in the kitchen and, you know, don't teach them how to read, and it's whatever. It's all right. It's happening all around us all day, every day. She's good. You're good. We're all in this together. All right. I'd like to say that I saw another incident that I'd like to just briefly discuss. Now, my problem is with the wording and the overall context. It says, Houston homeless man rescues mom and baby who drove their minivan into a bayou. Homeless man rescues, again, ladies and gentlemen, emphasis on rescues mom and baby who drove in the bayou, crashed in the bayou. Police officers save and rescue, all right? Reg people out there might save and rescue. The homeless don't rescue. Let's just call it what it is. The homeless, what they do is they find. The homeless find things, all right? So instead of putting this pressure on this beautiful Houston homeless man who went out there and found himself, emphasis on he found himself a mom and a baby in the bayou. He found himself a mom and a baby. All right, quit playing with the words and saying he rescues. They don't have much, and I don't know what to do about it to take care of all of them. It's a global issue impacting a lot of people out there. And here comes this one man, at least on an individualistic level, here comes this one man where he finds himself a mom and a baby, grabs them and pulls them out of the bayou, all right? Saves them. To do what with them? To take ownership, to finally have a mom and a baby. And we're gonna take that mom and baby away from him and say he rescued this mother. Hasn't he gone through enough? Doesn't he get to one day get up and say, I own a mom and a baby? I got me a mom and a baby. Now, now what he does with it should be his, but what happened to the notion of finders, keepers? All right. Isn't that one of the amendments was about that, wasn't it? Or was it one of the commandments was about that? With finders, keepers. All right, ladies, because if we start playing by different rules around this bitch, how are we going to get to see our homeless population uplift themselves? And we always say that, a little bit of taking that personal responsibility. So he found himself a mom and a baby. Now, you take away that mom and baby and play it along as if it was a rescue. How's he gonna, it's not easy every day where you get to find a mom and a baby. He could do many things with that mother and baby. He could make them into slaves, for example. And now he's got a little bit of help around under his bridge that he's, maybe residing temporarily at least. Or in the makeshift, cardboard home that he's created for himself on top of a shopping cart, whatever is, so he could at least send him out to hustle a little bit. Because a lot of people, if you see a baby begging for money on the street, you might be a little bit more prone to giving a couple of extra bucks, all right? But a grown man, not much sympathy out there. So he could send them to work, might not even be slaves. It might just be, you're mine now. I found you. Go out there and work, earn a buck, contribute to the makeshift cardboard home on top of a shopping cart. We can make it a double-decker. Who knows? Maybe that child has got some sort of talent that he could potentially exploit and make money from somehow. But again, we take that away from him by saying he rescued and now he's got to give it back. It defeats the purpose. It puts a sour taste in people's mouths. Was it sour or bitter? Sour is actually kind of nice. It tastes a bit, put a bitter, bitter could be nice too. Sometimes you get a nice, deep, rich, East European coffee. Is it Turkish? What is it? Is it from Serbia? It's a little bit bitter, but once you get used to it, it's nice. What I'm trying to say is that this taking away of the mother and baby under the banner of rescue we looked previously, who rescues? People who drive choppers, who go down to the Australian waterfalls, they rescue. Coppers in Cortland rescue. Homeless, fined. I think this is a matter for the people to decide on, and I'd like to say that it's best we lead with our hearts sometimes, all right? Now, I did not catch this next beautiful hero's name. It does bring me a little bit of pain, but not so much that I can't go on. Because what do I do at the end of the day? Orchestrate and dominate, so it's not gonna get in my path. This beautiful doggo in LA just helped bring down a crazed gunman. All right, a crazed gunman was going off in LA. I'm a crazed gunman. He said that. Or he didn't say that, but he was a crazed gun because he was wielding a gun in midair in broad daylight. And next thing you know, doggo set loose by the police department, went out there, snatched him, bit him, and grabbed him by the groin. That's where we trained him. That's where I trained them. That's where I trained with them. Outside of this podcast, I do many things, and one of the activities I like to do is train with police dogs. I demonstrate to them from the time they're young pups, when they're just little cute little baby pups and they're just gnawing on my teats for milk. All right, I like to let them gnaw on my teats for the milk, and after they're fed, after the little pups are fed, what do? We get somebody in one of those suits that's covered in pillow, and then I get on all fours and I make dog noises, and I rush and bite the guy who's wearing the pillowcase suit. I bite him right in the crotch. I bite him in his cock. I'm biting, I'm ripping up, and these little young pups are seeing that from the time they're maybe like 2-3 weeks old, until I raise them one by one and release them into the police departments where they can go out there and serve and rescue. All right. And they did that. One of the doggos in LA did that. Of course, this warms my heart. Again, these doggos don't get that much credit. It picked up a few injuries, which saddens me, but it wasn't lethal. I do like to open this, I'd like to take this opportunity to open up a little bit of a conversation with you folks out there. Doggos have, of course, been man and woman's best friend for some time, and they are capable of holding down jobs and paying mortgages and having car payments and cell phone bills. They do it all. They're contributing members of society. I just like to take this opportunity and say, are there not any other animals we could potentially use in the police department to fight crime? Think about it, because doggos, they're great and they're capable. But what if I told you that I've also, again, on my spare time, on my own time, on my own dime, I've been training monkeys who are friendly to the common folk, but when it comes to criminal behavior, they are just throbbing. They are foaming at the mouth, waiting to be, given a little treat after they bring down the criminal. So use these monkeys that I've trained. They could be think of it as assistants. You don't need to replace the dogs, but on top of the dogs, you could be like, you know what? We got ourselves a standoff. We got a hostage situation. Next thing you know, trained monkeys that I've trained by myself, because I had to decipher their language. I had to sit through their masturbation rituals and their mating rituals. I had to watch them fight, teach them how to fight better even, okay? And again, the whole eye gouging, ripping off the old skull, ripping off the skull, I showed them that, okay? This was in '88, talking Amazon jungles, spent 3 months there, implemented the whole see the attacker, find him, orchestrate, dominate, remove scalp. That's how they did it. So I've got these monkeys trained and ready to go. We just put suits on them that says NYPD, LAPD, Toronto Police Department. We use the monkeys to attack the criminals as well. Other animals that I've been thinking about, we could also go with low-key, not gonna lie to you. What's one of the most attractive shows out there for like at least 2 decades now? Shark Week, that's right, Discovery. So we take these sharks, trained, I'll use the same methods that I use with the monkeys, all right? Got yourself a criminal or two outside of a bank, outside of a shopping mall, waiting to go loco, come up with my shark, right? Set that shark free. And the next thing you know, it's just fucking out there chomping on his nuts. Think about it. You like other animals? We could work with, I'm thinking, you know, how about a cockroach infestation? I'm talking maybe like 2,000-3,000 cockroaches. See a problem, orchestrate, dominate, whistle, cockroaches attack. Right there. Sure, they might not be lethal, but like 2,000 of them are. That'll gross out anybody. And the criminal activity stops with that shit right there. So this is not just about dogs. It's more broadly for the animals who are also trying to make it on a day-to-day basis. Because again, we've seen the tech developing. All right, you see Hyundai teaming up with Boston Dynamics, the robots that are going into factories, getting up on 2 legs, rotating 360 at the pelvis. Knees are adjustable. It's got 3 fingers, but somehow it can still jerk you off. People are asking questions. Simultaneously, you see LG coming up with robots that are taking care of your household chores. And these dogs, these poor animals who are, whether working in the police department, whether working with, you know, children or the elderly to soothe them in their hard times, if they happen to be a little bit, I need a little bit of assistance, you know, one of those fellas and ladies out there. So these dogs and cats and cockroaches even are trying their best, but again, like us, they are seeing a whole swath of competition coming in from the AI and robot world. And I just like to say, let's implement more of them in the workforce while using and working technology to grow and enhance together. Orchestrate and dominate. She said, I'd like to be surprised. She said, I'd like to be surprised when you go down on me, surprise me. I want to be surprised when you go down on me. She said that. What do? I sneak up behind her when she's not looking, and I just crouch and get into a little ball right behind her. Right behind her, she steps back, she trips and falls. Next thing you know, I'm scurrying out the way, laughing. We're both laughing. What happened? She asked for it, she got it. What did she want? Surprise. What did she ask for? For me to go down on her, and I did. All right, all you need to do is, ladies and gentlemen, if somebody asks, if your lover asks you to surprise me and go down on me, what do they mean by that, whether they're male or female? It needs to be a little bit of a surprise is what they're saying. There needs to be an element of catch me off guard, all right? When I'm not expecting it, surprise me and go down on me. So next thing you want to do is don't stick to your regular routine where you're like 7 o'clock every Thursday. I'm going down on you. Switch it up, you know? Before she gets out of bed, before she wakes up, get up 15-20 minutes earlier. Get on the side of the bed that she's sleeping on. Get down. As soon as she rolls out of bed, she's gonna step over you or on top of you, trip and fall. What did you do? You surprised her and you went down on her. That's what you do, all right? You're like, how do I do more of this sort of thing? Because I'd like to keep my lady or man. Glad you have that concern and I'm here to help. Next time she pulls in to the driveway and wants to get out of the vehicle, you're watching from the side of the house, all right? As soon as she pulls up, as soon as she's like, you know, searching for her purse and she's taking a car key out of the ignition, you roll right underneath the car door, the driver's door, you crouch down, all right? You just crouch down. She opens the door, doesn't see where she's going, steps right on top of you or like between your pits, right there between the pits. She gets tangled up with your body, trips, stumbles, falls. What did you do? You surprised her and you went down on her. That's what you do, all right? So again, I don't want to, you know, you show up to, there's so many different examples. You show up to like, oh, we got invited to a nice party. and it's inside of a building or a condo. What are we gonna do? Whatever floor that the party's at, let's say it's in the penthouse floor, right? Get to the party, penthouse, kick her out. You press the lower floor button. What did you do? Dropped her off at the party in the penthouse, surprised her, and went down on her on floor 13. All right, you just go, again, what she asked for, surprise, and go down on me. So just combining those two elements and making sure that it's not the same old all the time. She wants to be caught off guard a little bit. That's how you stay spontaneous. That's how you orchestrate and dominate. I never understood this notion of, you've heard the saying, people say, I'd like to give him a piece of my mind. I'd like to give her a piece of my mind. Gave him a piece of my mind. And I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Who are these people that they like to, first of all, give a piece of their mind to? And when they do find these individuals, how do they give them a piece of their mind? Because if I'm not mistaken, let me see if I get this correctly, okay? A piece of my mind. All right, I'll use myself for an example. I'll use a piece of my mind. Where is my mind? Where is my mind? It's in my brain, I think. Where is my brainage? In the storage section of my body, which is where? It's in my head. It's in my head. So if we are to say that we've concluded by first locating where my mind is, which is inside my brain, and then you're saying that you want to go and give a piece of your mind to somebody. It could be a he, it could be a she, it could be a robot, for all I care. It doesn't really matter. It could be a tranny robot. I don't care. I want to give them a piece of my mind. You're telling me something between you and this fellow or lady or half robot, wielding 3 dildos, made you want to go up to them. Somehow reach into your brain, which is locked inside your head, rip out a piece of your brain which contains a piece of your mind and give it to the person? I mean, when do we stop? When do we stop with the lies, with the deceitful behavior and say, I gave him a piece of my mind? Did you now? Because I see no bleedage from the ears. I see no bleedage from the nose. I don't see any blood in the... Did you go in from the mouth? How did you retrieve a piece of your mind is what I'm asking. It's concerning because it's one of those things that just gets, thrown out into the zeitgeist and it just becomes fashionable and people start using it all of a sudden. Gave him a piece of my mind. With what equipment did you grab a piece of your mind? Okay? And once you give a person a piece of your mind, what is their responsibility with your peace of mind, And how do you go existing in society with actual missing chunks of your brain? Piece of your mind is now missing and then you gave it to somebody. How are you still functioning? Now, do we see people out there drooling and dragging a leg when they're walking down the street? Of course, and that sometimes makes me wonder, have they given people a piece of their mind? Is that what has caused this retardation in this fellow or lady who's got that stanky leg and is walking down the street at a very slow pace? Wagwan is what I ask myself, internally, of course. But I'm starting to connect the dots and draw my own conclusions, and I just want to say that cut this shit out. We don't have the equipment for it. Maybe the last people who practiced this method were the Egyptians, and that was after death. or maybe like during death, where they went in through the nostrils, grabbed pieces of the mind via the brain, and made soup with it or whatever it is that they did. But we did that like thousands of years ago. In modern day society, we don't have the tools, which is again, of course, an opportunity for me to orchestrate and dominate, which is why I like to say moving forward, if you'd like to give somebody a piece of your mind, I've teamed up with a ice cream scoop maker, and basically it's like the same mechanism for an ice cream scoop. You scoop it up. We use that scooper for scooping the ice cream. All right, it's a tinier. You scoop the tiny little scooping through the nostrils, chunks of your brain. You got to get through the cartilage in your nose, and you just scoop it up and give little bits and pieces to people. Hope, and again, you're not gonna come at us and say we got retarded after using your brain scooper. You can't come and because if you're using that phrase, then I hope you're holding yourselves accountable for that lifestyle. So just wanted to nip it in the bud. It was on my mind. It was kind of weighing me down, despite the fact that nothing weighs me down because I orchestrate and dominate on a regular basis. And just want to make it clear. At least we're all on the same page. All right? I believe there's a huge market for falcons, for specifically UK falcons. They're being bought and purchased by rich sheiks in the Middle East. Apparently there's a whole market that's just kind of developed in the past few years, maybe decade or two, and it's growing, and it's low-key a little bit concerning, low-key a little bit lit, I'm not gonna lie to you. So the sheiks, the rich Middle Eastern, kings and princes, apparently they've gotten into this hobby of racing falcons, and specifically buying UK-built falcons so that they could ship it over to the Middle East and race them. What's fascinating about these falconers or falconers, falconeers, what's interesting about them is the way they treat these birds is that they're don't worry about it. They're fine. They're fine. Yeah, I mean, like how you breed them and how you get to them is a whole different, should it be legal? Should it be illegal? Should it be, what about like animal endangerment and endangered animals' lives and this, that, and that's the boring shit. Nobody cares about that. What's exciting is some of these birds are going for like hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes even millions of dollars, and they live extremely lavish lives. Really, really lavish lives. I read this, of course, I read an article, which must be true. Apparently they're driving in fancy ass cars, like so they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for one bird, putting it in like fancy cars, just fucking draped in exotic leather, giving these falcons like the best diet. That they've got their own chefs, these falcons, and apparently they get like massages, and they're just like trained to race really quickly for these beautiful rich Middle Eastern sheiks and princes. And that's low-key, I thought to myself, I'm like, and they really care where the birds come from. Falcons are but specifically UK built falcons, or bred in the UK, all right? Because they're like the speediest of falcons. Now, I heard this and I thought to myself, in the meantime, while I'm waiting for my payment to, get sent my way, I'm talking about the bounty on Maduro, while I wait on that 50 mil, because I'm out there orchestrating, dominating, right? I'm like, I could always get a little bit more cash. Who can't use a little bit more money all day, every day? So I'm thinking like, I could easily, people mistaken me for a falcon all the time. Look at this. Falcon. Rob. Falcon. Regular, just human. Falcon. Human, right? So people, I've gotten that before. I've gotten that many times. I got it like 3 times just this morning. You're like, Falcon? I'm like, nah. Just a global sensation doing podcasts and trying to do comedy, orchestrating, dominating. Thank you. Once again, Falcon, human. The resemblance is uncanny. I know, it freaks me out sometimes too. I walk out in the middle of the night to take a leak, see myself in the reflection in the mirror. I'm like, Falcon? I'm like, nah, dog, it's just you. It's just you. But I thought I'm gonna just, for some time, and again, I'm waiting for that 50 mil to come in. I can go there. I can go to the Middle East and just low-key show up and fucking hang out with the Falcons for a little bit, Get myself a fancy, go drive around in a Lambo in the backseat of the Lambo. I don't even know if they've got backseats, to be honest with you. But I'm pretty sure like the Middle Eastern sheiks can, extend the Lambos for the Middle Eastern sheiks. I'll sit comfortably in the back, falconing out. And I'll race a couple of Falcons. When it comes to speed, there is no one faster. When it comes to, they're getting, let's cover their eyes with little, blinders and like tell them which direct. You don't even need to tell me, dude. You don't need to put blinders on me, fella. You know what I'm talking about? Put me in a Lambo. Give me a little bit of raw meat. I'm there. Eating raw meat, because that's what Falcons do. And I'll fucking fly. I'll fly to wherever you need me to fly to, because I like a race. What are we talking about? Point A to point B. You want to point from point A to point B and be like, get there and come back quickly. I can get there and come back before you know it. I can get there, come back, get there again, and come back once more. You want to add a third point A to point B to point C? Bet the Falcons can't do that. Even if they could, you add another point. What you got? You got 4 points, A, B, C, and D. What are they gonna do? Add up all the points? They can't. They got tiny little heads. They're stupid. They're dumb. Who's got a bigger head? This guy. Much bigger head compared to the Falcons. So you can add up to 6 points. And I'll race. Again, Falcon. Human. Falcon. Comedy podcast sensation, international, intergalactic, orchestrating and dominating, putting it out there. If you're an Arab sheik and you want to get a Falcon podcast sensation right here. So that's how I'm going to make a little bit of extra cash on the side, because that's how I got my hands in many pots. What can I tell you? All right. That's how you orchestrate. That's how you fucking dominate. Lego just came out with a new set of toys. Baby boys, baby girls, if you're a fan of Lego like myself, I played with Lego when I was a kid, and look at me now. They came up with a new brick. It's a smart brick, unlike the bricks that we used to play with. And again, look at the simple, dumb bricks of Lego. As a child, I played with these and it just straightened me right out, all right? Shoved them up my nose. Shoved them in my mouth, shoved them up my ass, put them in my ear and jammed it all the way in there. Gave it a few to my friends, shoved them up their nose, put them down their throat, put them down their throat. Why did we put the Legos down their throat? Why are these kids putting the Legos up their ass? That's a good question. But nonetheless, look how far we've gotten. And that was just regular dumb bricks. But Lego in 2026 has come up with a new smart brick. And these smart bricks are, I don't know what they are, to be honest with you, but I believe they're tech bricks. They're smart bricks, which means they're incorporating tech to have light bulbs and sounds and maybe a little bit of AI. So when your kids are now playing with these smart Lego bricks, your kids, when they insert these Lego pieces and they jam it up in there, again, look at me, regular dumb Lego pieces from the 90s, all right? Now look how far, practically, just here's the podcast, here's the industry, here's comedy. Somebody's got a chokehold on the scene. Who is it? No big deal, just this guy. Falcon, chokehold on the entirety of the scene, all of it. So, and that's with dumb bricks from the 90s. Shout out to the 90s. But now your kids, the future, they're getting smart bricks, lights, music, recognition, feedback, reaction, all of it. Think of the stimuli. Your child, by inserting these little tiny bricks inside their nostrils, will instantly skip through all from grade 1 through grade 6, 7. They'll advance in mathematics, advance right through high school, right through AP math, all of it. Okay, physics. Your kid's not getting it, take one of these smart bricks, just get a hammer, jam it right in their brain from the ear holes. They got 2, use multiple smart bricks. If you're not doing it, the Chinese will, all right? So use these bricks. The more you use, the smarter your kid will get. Will they get smart enough to create a wormhole in your living room? Yes. Yes, they will. Why? Because these bricks are smart. And look at us. Look at me. Regular dumb bricks. All right? And what I do to the industry? Orchestrated and dominated. Okay? Anything I want to let go right now? I'm not. It's just the beginning. It's just 2026 right here. So give your kids the leading advantage by replacing all their dumb Lego pieces from 2026 and prior with extremely smart Lego pieces, which will teach them everything there is to know about life and beyond. And that means death too. And that could be a scary concept for a child, but perhaps it's time we scare them a little bit. You're welcome. Now, this podcast is, of course, not brought to you by Lego, not because we didn't try, not because we may have reached out, not because they don't want to, but sometimes it's like, yo, leave a little bit for the others as well. And to that I say, I will never stop orchestrating and dominating. And yeah, maybe I haven't reached out to Lego. Perhaps this is me reaching out. Lego, you want to put your smart bricks on the fast track? You want your smart bricks being sold at every corner by drug dealers and gang members? You know who to holler at. You want prostitutes, getting paid in smart bricks? You know where your boy's at. You want cartels buying smart bricks from other cartel members? You holler at your boy. That's a little bit of Lego. So congratulations to us and the partnership that's awaiting for us. Our next company that we like to highlight today is Lollipop Star. Now people have many words to describe your boy. I'm very giving. When it comes to sharing, I'm right there with the number 1 to number 5 rank when it comes to sharing and caring, Lollipop Star has done something that's fascinating. It's a company that makes lollipops, but they incorporated, like many companies are incorporating today, they incorporated technology with their lollipops. The difference between these lollipops and regular old dumb lollipops, that these lollipops, very similar to the Legos, are smart. So when you suck it off, when you're sucking off these lollipops, they actually play a song inside your head. These smart lollipops. Again, Lollipop Star is the name of the company if you want to get you some. And this podcast is not brought to you by Lollipop Star. Could easily be. What do? You put it in your mouth. What do you start to? You suck it off. What happens next? Music plays inside your head. Now, you're like, where did they get this tech? Is it an alien donation? How do they reverse engineer this shit? I like to just say that I'm not gonna... Don't worry, Lollipop Star. There isn't gonna be a lawsuit or any form of, litigation from my end. Yeah, have I been using this tech on my body for at least 20 years? Of course. My cock has the exact same technology. When you suck it off, you hear music inside your head. Countless women, thousands, if not millions of women can attest to this. When they suck me off, music plays in their ear, and their favorite music, and each of them is different. And again, I'm not gonna say how I came up with the tech or where I got the tech. We're all sharing and caring, and it's just one world. I'm just glad to see another product coming up with this idea to have somebody suck something off and music play in their head without headphones, without any sort of external stimuli. It's incredible. But again, I've had this tech. If you want to use it, by all means. I didn't patent it, I didn't put a stamp on it. I've also, shared it with a few ladies. Fellas, if you're out there eating out that box and you hear music, you're welcome. Sweet, sweet music when you're eating the puss, sucking on her clit. I want you to remember this face every time you hear music, when you're knee deep inside her vulva, all right? Slurping up in her internals, right? Coming out the other side. For you went inside her puss and you came out, your tongue is reaching out her mouth. That's how deep inside you've gotten. Just coming out, there's two tongues in her mouth. The second one's yours. And you're also simultaneously hearing music. My tech. You're welcome. Don't ask where I got it from, all right? Finders, keepers. A record-breaking bluefin tuna was just sold in Tokyo, Japan. I believe this tuna was weighing 243 kilograms, which is roughly maybe the equivalent of 400 or 500 pounds. Again, it's a bluefin. It went for $3.2 million. A beautiful Japanese man bought the tuna fish. It is a big, chunky, fat tuna. It's a special tuna. Of course, we're gonna have to put some work into it. It's obese, it's overweight. We're gonna have to put the tuna on Ozempic or Wegovy. I don't know the names of these drugs that make you lose weight. Wegovy? Ozempic, that's like the most dominant one. So yeah, this tuna's got a lot of work to do. But we saw, why did we pay $3.2 million for this tuna? When you see talent, you just happen to, if you got the eye for it, you got the eye. We saw this tuna out there in the ocean. It is a little bit overweight, but we've seen many other people who've had a couple of extra LBSs around their body. Nonetheless, extremely talented, capable. It's a smart tuna. It's a bluefin tuna, unlike other tunas who are regular, gray fin, brown fin, green. This one's a bluefin. It's rare, you could say that. The weight, despite the fact that some might see it as a disability or a hindrance, the tuna can actually move like a lightweight, which is one of the reasons why it caught our attention to begin with. The neck movement on this tuna is not seen anything like it since the 90s. To be honest with you, it's capable of typing extremely quick. Even though it's a tuna, it can actually use a thermonuclear weapon if given one. It can fly helicopters. It's been recorded that it can actually do all sorts of martial arts, even the ones that you've not heard of, like that one, and that's hidden knowledge. So I don't even know how he learned that one, but nonetheless, he is doing all of that. He can give 3 types of massages: blindfolded, handicapped, and paralyzed from the neck down. He could make you come by just simply making a squeaking noise underwater, and you'll just jizz your pants. This is what this tuna does. He can dance, he can sing, he can act. This tuna is groundbreaking. We've never seen anything like this. A few years ago, one tried to do similar activities, but this one gets the cake. All right, so congratulations to the buyer of this extremely talented tuna. The future is, of course, extremely bright for this young fish, and who knows what we'll see next. Now, many times I like to take this opportunity to, when we are gathered here together as a unit, I like to make time and, reach out to the people who are maybe incapable of defending themselves, maybe speaking out for themselves and giving them a voice if they can. I'm talking about a woman right now. I'm talking about a female. Now, this beautiful female, she lives in, I believe it's the Long Island iced tea area that she lives in. She has been residing in Long Island iced teas for some time. She got in trouble with the law enforcement in the past few days or weeks, maybe. I'm not quite sure when exactly it happened, but they've got a hold of her. They want to charge her because apparently she has 200 or plus pet rats in her dwelling in her home. And they've claimed that her home is overrun by 200 pet rats. I like to defend this woman and say that, it's easy for us to point to a female who's doing things a little bit differently out there, like the one who went out there and traversed near an Australian waterfall and happened to take a fall. And it's easy to point to populations like this and say, look, see, this is what you get. I want to say 200 pet rats are not that bad, that's 200 of anything isn't that much, really. If you had $200, is that too much? I don't think so. If you had 200 orgasms, is that even a big in a lifetime? If you had 200 orgasms, is that enough? Have you had too many orgasms? Are you overrun by 200 orgasms? If somebody came and gave you 200 chocolate cakes, in a lifetime, is that, or even in a year, that's not even enough chocolate cake for every day of the year. All right, ladies. So this woman, this female, has 200 pet rats, and we are ostracizing her and saying that her house is overrun by these pet rats. Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen anything actually be overrun? Because what is running, if not just a simple act of walking at a faster pace? Do we complain when we see the likes of Usain Bolt and that other new runner who's younger, who's like today's Usain Bolt, whose name is just, skipping my mind? It's good. Bang Bang, Bang Bang. What's his name? God damn it. Where's he from? I forget. Kenya? Zimbabwe? Senegal? Who knows? A beautiful, when we see people who are taking running and getting better at it and essentially overrunning, do we say, no, slow it down. Don't overrun here, Usain Bolt. Don't run too fast. We want to get overrun, So when we say phrases like this, when we single out a female like this and say that 200 pet rats are just too many rats and people are complaining and it's just too much, I say it's not enough. I say if 200 rats have overrun this house, what could 300 rats do? Why not dream a little bit bigger? Why not give her permission to have 1,000 pet rats? How about if she has more rats, if she's able to overrun, which running is essentially what? Taking control, orchestrating, dominating, controlling, making sure things are working when you run things. So if she's overrun, which means she's basically put it on lockdown when it comes down to her household. She's got these rats. These rats are running her household, taking care of everything. Chores around the house, taken care of by the rats. Garbage needs to be taken out, the rats are taking care of it. You need to cook yourself a meal, who's on top of it? The rats are on top of it. You need a little bit of you got a little bit of an itch in your crotchal region, but you're too afraid to reach down and scratch it yourself. Who's there nibbling on your nads? The rats are, and that's just with 200 rats. What if we were to open up our minds for a second and say, you know what? It's okay to dream big. It's okay to have aspirations of doing things that others might, point to and label as outrageous. But this is only 200 rats. With 10,000 rats, she could overrun this city. And by overrun, I mean orchestrate and dominate. So please, before we go ahead and press any charges, I say it's just one female. It's 200 pet rats. It's not that big of a deal. And we could have had far, far worse animals in that household than rats. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Get out of here.